bathsalts on, motherfuckers act like zombies when they
Story out front tonight, drugs known as bathsalts being blamed for a gruesome scene.
This the bathsalts on, motherfuckers act like zombies when
They tried to get him to stop his attack.
This the bathsalts on, motherfuckers act like zombies when they
You gotta realize that was the biggest case. They've been planning this zombie attack.
By 1968, you keep saying because that hurts your backfire, so you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. You get it so abstract now.
Cannibal attacker in South Florida, Rudy, Eugene.
The gruesome face-eating attack in Miami could be part of a trend, an example of something larger and much more dangerous.
Like, because now people are talking about the zombie apocalypse and how all these people eating each other. Man, are you crazy? I can't.
He was like a zombie.
Cannibals do not only exist here in the United States.
You can imagine around the world in the headlines, Rudy Eugene is a zombie. I know my son. Tell me about it. Rudy will never do something like that.
Caesar returns.
But from your expert eye looking at this, is it possible?
In this conspiracy theory, if they can prove...
It's a gut-punching docu-series that purports to tell the true story and what eventually became a very public miscarriage of justice.
Today, it stands as a cautionary tale of injustice.
Cannibal attacker in South Florida, Rudy, Eugene.
It is an attack that can only be described as savage.
Witnesses telling police it involved naked men and cannibalism.
The gruesome face-eating attack in Miami could be part of a trend.
I mean, people don't like to hear about it, but cannibalism exists. There have been other cases of it, and they may want to think it's a fantasy.
Linda Fairstein, who since the docu-series started airing, deleted her social media accounts.
I'm sorry it's taken so long for people to realize what a monster Linda Fairstein was in that case.
You've just met the Central Park Five, a name they came to share 30 years ago after a young white woman named Trisha Miley went for a jog in New York's Central Park.
It was a brutal attack on a 28-year-old woman jogger.
She was dragged down the bushes where she was beaten and sexually assaulted.
The attack was an outrage and became a media sensation.
The young men were eventually cleared of the crimes.
No blood on their clothing. The semen doesn't match. The DNA tests come back negative. There's nothing that links these boys to the crime.
And the men were exonerated.
But not before serving time. Now the hashtag #CancelLinda is trending on social media. And a Change.org petition has gotten thousands of signatures calling for bookstores to remove Fairstein's mystery books from store shelves.
Linda, I mean, it's a sickening case.
When everybody's on the same page, it might be the result of an organized campaign.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
When so many in the media are reporting the same stories, promulgating the same narratives, relying on the same sources, even using the same phrases. I mean, think of it. There are literally thousands of legitimate news stories that could be reported in a given day, and an infinite number of ways to report them.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our...
And the United States has everything under control, they think. Hey, I gotta give y'all like the warning before you watch this video right here. This is me trying to give the information to the community about, they was trying to do like some zombie apocalypse, and it was tied to this R.J. Reynolds case, with the buyout.
There's more to it, I'm just giving you a preview. Black roses, concrete and showbiz. This is tailor-made for the soldiers. Televised like it ain't a revolution. Tell a friend who the truth is. Royale.
cannibal attacker in South Florida, Rudy Eugene.
It is an attack that can only be described as savage.
Witnesses telling police it involved naked men and cannibalism.
The gruesome face-eating attack in Miami could be part of a trend, an example of something larger and much more dangerous. Miami police say they've seen similar cases recently of people behaving strangely and showing what appears to be superhuman strength.
Like, because now people are talking about the zombie apocalypse and how all these people are eating each other. Man, are you crazy? I can't.
The story that made headlines around the world Memorial Day weekend. Good evening, I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Shannon Horry. Ronald Papo, a homeless man, had his face chewed off in an attack no one could explain.
Police shot Eugene dead as they tried to get him to stop his attack.
Story out front tonight, drugs known as bathsalts being blamed for a gruesome scene in Miami. This is a naked man. He was shot dead on Saturday by police because he was gnawing off another man's face.
Police were forced to open fire on a naked man who refused to stop chewing the face off of another man.
And we're learning more this afternoon about the man now known as the Causeway Cannibal.
And the guy in Miami took off his clothes and started biting the face off of the homeless guy.
We look into what could have caused this attack, and we have new details on just how much of the victim's face was literally bitten off.
Ever since Rudy Eugene's attack on Ronald Papo, there have been theories about what sparked Eugene to go on that bizarre attack.
My mind cannot fathom is that there are people who think their lives suck so much that for a little bit of a high, they're going to do bath salts, which makes you want to eat somebody's face off, or that you're Jason or stalked by Jason. What the hell was going on in that dude's mind?
Police say Eugene was naked, that he was growling like an animal. He was shot and killed by police when he refused to stop, but it took multiple shots. That's leading to the descriptions of what seems to be superhuman strength.
Get the sense that when you do bath salts, you get like this insane sense of strength where you can do anything.
Over the weekend, Rudy Eugene attacked a 65-year-old homeless man, chewing off most of his face. Police say he was probably high on a drug known as bath salts.
Can't go any further, and then when I look forward, there's a guy on top of another person eating him up, like just tearing his face apart. And I was like, I go, and I try to scream at him, you know, hey, get off of him, you know. It's like the guy he was like a zombie.
Cannibals do not only exist here in the United States.
You can imagine around the world in the headlines, Rudy Eugene is a zombie, he's a monster, he's a cannibal.
Long story short, that was all a lie.
Eugene's family believes he was a victim of violence Saturday, that someone dumped him at the base of the causeway.
I don't believe he would walk up there butt naked 12 o'clock in the afternoon and nobody see that.
I know my son. Tell me about it.
Rudy will never do something like that.
Rudy Eugene's mother and family insist the accounts make no sense.
You don't believe him? No, I don't. Somebody kill him and they just go ahead, they dump him.
The mother of Rudy Eugene, the man who chewed off much of the face of a homeless man and was then shot by police, says her son is not the monster he's being portrayed to be.
Plus, new video has just been released of how this bizarre attack began. Our own Glenna Milberg joins us live now from Miami with the details.
New information on that horrific attack by the MacArthur Causeway.
New details of the autopsy of the man accused in a cannibal attack in Miami starting to surface.
The toxicology report for Rudy Eugene has been released.
According to the toxicology results released by the medical examiner, no traces of things like bath salts or LSD or anything that would cause some sort of psychotic frenzy.
6, there were no bath salts in the system of the so-called Causeway Cannibal.
The toxicology report is out, and it indicates that the Miami cannibal was not, in fact, on bath salts. So I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about this because A, it proves the fact that the media went crazy way too early and reported that he was on bath salts. Look, I did so as well, but that was because you had credible news organizations saying that this cannibal was on bath salts. So you're like, oh, I guess it's already confirmed.
And Glenna, given this new information, you have to ask, where did this whole bath salt theory come from?
The officer believes the man clearly was on some very, very powerful drugs.
Fraternal Order of Police president tells me this crop of LSD is a major threat to police officers as well as the rest of us. He says it turns normal people into monsters that possess this superhuman strength and no ability to feel pain. Fraternal Order of Police President Armando Aguilar says that cop had no choice but to shoot when he found a naked man chewing away at another man's face.
Had his face completely eaten. From the top of his forehead to almost his jaw. It wasn't just that he was being bit, it's that the person was actually swallowing pieces of his face. Person was actually swallowing pieces of his face. Person was actually swallowing pieces of his face.
The Miami Herald reporting that preliminary results show Rudy Eugene did not have any remnants of flesh in his stomach.
Autopsy reports reveal there was no human flesh found in Eugene's stomach.
Well, I might say that Local 10 never reported on any bath salts theory, but I know so many places have. It's even nationally in the cable talk shows and locally people were talking about bath salts. I think when you have sort of this absolute horrific behavior and frenzied attack and people are looking for what to blame it on, in the absence of information and in the void, people start to speculate, and that was one such speculation. Tonight we know that that was not the case.
And although the attack left Papo blind in both eyes and undergoing occupational therapy to deal with the new realities of his life.
He's supposed to be blind in both eyes, but they got him pointing to himself as he watched television. After the Rudy Eugene, all of the same key players, the FOP and all of that, FBI, all that, shit, the CDC even got involved. And if people would have realized, like, around that time to take it a lot more serious, it wouldn't have got that far.
It affects generations down the line. Who blocked this shit? I said grind, yeah, don't stop, it's showtime to shine. Don't stop, it's showtime to shine. I was born in the belly, beast mode, New York City, I got family that don't know me really. Monetize what don't kill me, hustler shit, larger than life, my glow different, custom fit.
This is New York.
Yeah. Interview with a track killer. I like to thank Illuminati for rooting for me. They did everything in their power to help me to stay free. Shit, maybe it's just me. Crushing your dreams, this is no place to sleep. Got eyes in the sky, give them something to see. This my Terminator style, skulls under the feet. Got feds on my ass every time I speak. I be talking that shit, I'm shallow but so deep. Like a rock to a ripple hurricane. From butterfly wings, I'm from Harlem, I win all the fly things. You know, all the way to heaven. Wait, what can I bring? I'm a hustler, I trade liquor for lightning, the rain terror. I got a family to take care of, keep it 1000, no bank error.